When it comes to how much a woman is drawn to you, a small part of it lies in your physical appearance and whether you fit her type. But, as many soon realize, that only takes you so far. It's not what makes a woman fall for you, pursue you, or become captivated by your presence. What truly matters is how she feels when she's around you and, just as crucially, how she feels when she's away from you, thinking about you. This is Stoic Approach to life, and in this guide I want to discuss key actions that, when done right, can transform a woman's initial interest into something much deeper. These actions will help turn her attraction into a strong emotional bond, where she envisions a future with you and feels an intense connection, even when you're not around. In today's fast-paced world, if she's not thinking about you when you're apart, it's easy for her attention to drift. You need to establish the right kind of bond quickly, or another person might take her focus, and things won't progress the way you'd hope. In this guide, I will provide 7 effective tactics, examples included, to help increase the emotional intensity and attraction she feels when she's with you. 1. Earned validation. Validation is essentially how someone makes us feel about ourselves. Many guys make the mistake of offering validation too quickly or too frequently, which results in unearned validation. This happens when a guy compliments a woman on her looks or something superficial. But for someone who's heard that countless times, it doesn't have much effect. The words lose their meaning. To illustrate, imagine being in a situation where people constantly compliment you for something you haven't really put effort into. At first, it feels nice, but eventually, it starts to feel empty and shallow because it wasn't earned. That's how many women feel when they receive compliments that don't seem sincere or are given without her having to do anything to earn them. Earned validation happens when she puts effort into impressing you, and you gradually show that you are impressed. This holds much more value because it feels real and makes her feel like she's genuinely winning your admiration. One way to show this is through what's known as the spontaneous compliment. These are compliments that don't feel forced or like they're part of an agenda. For example, if she's telling you about a recent adventure she had, you might respond naturally with, "Wow, that's really cool, you're so adventurous." This type of response feels genuine because it isn't about flattery. It's just an authentic reaction. Another powerful method is active listening. Instead of rushing to share your own story or trying to impress her with quick responses, really listen to what she's saying. After she shares something, ask deeper questions like, "How did that experience make you feel?" or "What was that like for you?" This kind of conversation makes her feel heard and validated in a meaningful way, rather than just receiving surface-level praise. Another way to enhance this is by offering validation in the third person. Rather than directly telling her she's amazing, you could mention it to someone else in conversation like, "I was just telling my friend about that story you told me." This kind of validation often feels more impactful because it shows that your admiration for her extends beyond just impressing her in the moment. Using these methods creates a deeper sense of validation that feels earned, making it far more meaningful to her. The next crucial element to master when it comes to creating an obsession is something known as 2 steps forward, 1 step back. This technique is all about building anticipation and tension, which are key factors in making someone feel desire. For many women, tension and the anticipation of what's going to happen next play a huge role in making them emotionally and mentally invested. It's not just about the actual interaction, it's the buildup in her mind that makes things exciting. Is something going to happen? Or is it not? That mental game she plays with herself fuels her interest and builds both emotional and physical tension. For example, imagine you're talking to her and you touch her hand lightly for a moment. It feels good for her, but then you pull your hand away. Now she's left anticipating when that touch will come again. If you had just kept holding her hand the entire time, the tension would eventually fade. By stepping back, you create a subtle desire for her to want more. This 2 steps forward, 1 step back approach also applies to things like eye contact. You could be having a flirty conversation, lock eyes with her for a brief, intimate moment, and then break that eye contact and return to the regular conversation. This keeps the tension alive, preventing things from becoming too predictable. This technique isn't just about physical interactions. It works for the pace of the relationship as well. If you're texting frequently and hanging out every weekend, that can quickly become routine. Instead, after spending a couple of weekends together, take a step back. Make plans with friends the following weekend instead. This slight pullback creates space for her to miss you and keeps her on her toes. The key here is balance. If things are constantly moving forward, they can lose their intensity. But by progressing things and then slightly withdrawing, you keep her mentally engaged and craving more. It's that mix of advancement and restraint that builds the romantic tension she craves. In essence, always remember, 2 steps forward, 1 step back. Whether it's physical touch, eye contact, or the progression of your relationship, this technique maintains the excitement and keeps her wondering what comes next. The next concept to grasp is called cool vulnerability. This is about being open and human with someone, but doing so in a way that's light, amusing, and attractive. It's not about heavy or overly personal admissions right from the start. Instead, it's about revealing small, relatable parts of yourself in a charming way. Celebrities are masters at this when they're on talk shows. Think about how they share funny, self-deprecating stories that make them feel more real and likable without losing their cool factor. For instance, let's say you're having a conversation with a woman about movies, and she mentions crying during a sad film like Titanic. Instead of just agreeing or dismissing it, you could share a story about how you once got emotional during an unexpected movie, like Armageddon. Imagine saying something like, "I remember watching Armageddon with my college buddies, and when Bruce Willis sacrificed himself, I was sitting there trying to hide my tears while all my friends were giving me side-eye." It's a small, slightly embarrassing story, but it's humorous and makes you relatable. That's the essence of cool vulnerability. You're not oversharing deep emotional baggage. Instead, you're offering a glimpse of your humanity in a way that's lighthearted and engaging. It's not about revealing major personal issues like childhood trauma early on. That's too much. Instead, it's about those funny or slightly embarrassing moments that make you seem real and approachable. If you want to perfect this, watch celebrity interviews. These public figures are coached to master the art of sharing just the right amount of vulnerability in a charming and relatable way, and they do it to make audiences feel connected to them. Next up is another key element, being a good audience. Most people enjoy being around someone who makes them feel like the star, rather than always trying to outshine them. Too often, when guys are talking to a woman, they're stuck in their heads, thinking about what to say next or how to impress her. But what actually makes someone feel good is being around a person who genuinely enjoys listening to them. Think about it in terms of humor. Sure, everyone loves the funny person, but what people really appreciate is someone who laughs at their jokes, who enjoys their stories. The person who lights up when they talk and makes them feel funny or interesting is someone they want to spend more time with. When she's telling you a story, don't just wait for your turn to speak or try to top her story with a better one. Instead, be engaged. Smile as she's talking, give her your full attention, and react naturally. If she's sharing something funny, laugh along with her. If she's talking about something serious, be empathetic and respond accordingly. This kind of engagement makes her feel heard, appreciated, and valued, which strengthens the connection. The next technique we're going to explore is called partners in crime. This approach involves creating a unique bond between two people, filled with inside jokes and shared experiences that are exclusive to the two of you. Think about classic examples from TV shows like The Office, particularly the early seasons when Jim and Pam weren't yet together. They had this special connection, a world that only the two of them shared, with looks and jokes that no one else fully understood. This creates a sense of partnership that fosters a deeper emotional connection. For instance, imagine you're spending time with someone and she's mentioned that she hates when people overuse the word literally. Now, whenever someone says that word, you give her a knowing look, or if you're feeling playful, you might start using it excessively yourself to make her laugh. This becomes your shared joke, something that's just between the two of you. Another way to build this partners in crime connection is by stepping into fun, slightly adventurous situations together. Let's say you're driving past a beautiful mansion that has an open house, and you suggest the two of you go in and pretend to be a wealthy French couple shopping for a home. The playful scenario not only entertains her, but also builds a memory that's uniquely yours. These shared moments go beyond physical attraction. Sure, there will always be someone more physically appealing or funnier than you, but when you combine humor, emotional connection, and shared experiences, you create something harder to replace. It's these bonds that make her feel invested in you and keep her coming back. Now let's move to another powerful element, revealing intimate details. At some point, revealing personal things about yourself becomes essential. It's a known psychological fact that when someone opens up to another person, it creates a stronger bond. This isn't about heavy or overly serious admissions. Instead, it's more like sharing those private thoughts that people don't often say out loud, but everyone can relate to. For example, you might ask her, "Hey, have you ever gone on social media when you're feeling down to check up on your ex or old classmates to see how they're doing? And when you find someone doing worse than you secretly feel better?" It's a funny, slightly vulnerable question that invites her to admit something personal and relatable. She may not admit it to just anyone, but sharing this with you deepens her connection to you. This technique makes it much harder for her to walk away because, in her mind, you now know things about her that others don't. It intensifies the emotional connection between you two. Finally, let's discuss the concept of dissonance. This is perhaps the most delicate tool to use because, if misused, it can come off as manipulative, and that's not the goal here. Properly applied, dissonance can create intense desire by triggering psychological tension. It occurs when someone gives conflicting signals, leaving the other person unsure of where they stand. This lack of clarity drives people to seek resolution. For instance, imagine a woman who makes future plans with you, like inviting you to her sister's wedding months away. But then she keeps canceling or rescheduling your immediate plans. This creates two conflicting ideas. She sees a future with you, but is also pulling away in the present. The uncertainty makes you invest more time and energy, trying to figure out what's really going on. In terms of attraction, you can create this kind of tension by using dissonance effectively. After building some investment and connection, you may take a step back, giving her space to wonder where things stand. But you can't apply this from the start. It works only when she's already emotionally invested in you. Many people think playing hard to get works in isolation, but without her being invested first, it goes unnoticed. When done right, this dissonance leads to her becoming more invested in solving the mystery of where she stands with you. In conclusion, the techniques of partners in crime, revealing intimate details and creating dissonance, are powerful ways to build a deeper connection that goes beyond surface-level attraction. These tools, when combined, make you someone she thinks about constantly, leading her to chase and invest in you. I hope you benefited from this video. Share your thoughts in the comment section below and subscribe to the channel if you think it's worth it. Thanks as always for watching, and always remember to keep embracing a stoic approach to life.